We'll do a review in Likutei Sichos in Chelek Chof Dalet, volume 24. This is the second Sicha for the Parshas Shoftim. The Rebbe discusses here a very a difficult idea that the Parsha says that when in the future Mashiach will come and the Yidden will expound into the three nations, Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni, that were promised to Avraham, and they will only be given to us in the future. So then the Yidden should make additional three Ore Miklots in the Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni, in that area when in the future to come, La'asid Lava with Mashiach. And the question is, cities of refuge are done for a murderer to be able to run there, if he kills somebody accidentally, and stay there. But there's going to be no evil in the times of the future to come with Mashiach. Who's going to be killing? There's nobody going to get killed, nobody to kill. The Rebbe is going to go into the details. The Rebbe brings down various different possibilities, but eventually the Rebbe comes to the answer that that is meant for the people that killed during before the time of Mashiach, before La'asid Lavai, and they'll have a place to run away then after La'asid Lavai. There's a whole discussion also about the two periods in the time of Mashiach. The first period in which the world is going to still continue to be naturally, and then the second period in which all the miraculous things will take place. Perhaps we can say that during the first period, maybe there will still be death over there. It won't be totally removed. This is going to be all in the discussion, but let's go step by step. Shoftim base. Aleph. Noch dem Tzivui beParsha Seinu, after the command in our Parsha, Aski Yachris Hashem Kecho Es Agoyim Goimer. When God, your God, will cut away the nations, v'yirishtam Goimer, and you will inherit them. So the Torah says, Zolmen Ois Telon, you must separate Gimel Ore Miklot, three cities of refuge. V'hoyo lanus shamo kol roitzeach, and that should be that any murderer can run away over there. That's the pasuk mamshich u'moisif. So that's talking about just in Eretz Yisrael. The time when you go in Eretz Yisrael, you have to create those cities of refuge. The pasuk says, "V'im yarchiv Hashem es gevulcha," when Hashem will widen your territory, kasher nishbala v'yisecha, as He has promised, sworn to your fathers. V'nosan l'cha es kol ha'oretz asher diber loses. And then He will give to you the entire land, all of it, not just the 7 nations, but all of the, including the 10 nations, including the Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni, Asher Diber Losis Lavisacha, that He had spoken to give to your fathers. So the pasuk says, "V'yosafta l'choid sholish orim al hasholish ha'ela." So then you should add an additional 3 cities that were in the mainland of Eretz Yisrael, also to the new acquisition. And that's besides the other 3 that was in Eber Hayarden, but this is in larger Eretz Yisrael, as Eretz Yisrael is going to include the Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni, you should add and put another additional 3 cities. So, steht in Sifri Yerushalmi, so it's written, it's stated in the Sifri and in Yerushalmi, gebracht in Rashi al Asar. It's brought down in Rashi on the place right here on the pasuk, as der tzivui batzitzich zum zman del osid lovei, that this command is referencing the time of the future to come. When Iden veln bakumen euch eretz keni uknizi vekadmeni, when the Yidden will also receive the lands of the Keni, Knizi, and the Kadmoni. Then they have to make the additional 3 cities of refuge. Und azoi paskent euch der Rambam. This is also ruled as such by the Rambam. That b'mei hamelech haMashiach meisifin sholish achedes al elu hashesh. In the days of Mashiach, you will add additional three. The Rambam talks about the six, meaning the three in the mainland and the three in Ever Hayardin. You'll add another three. Ve'echin meisifin oisam. Where do we add them to? Where are they situated? So they are Ba'ore Hakeni, Va'knizi Va'kadmoni. The cities of the Keni, Knizi and the Kadmoni. Shenichras L'Avrom Avinu Bris Alemchul. Avram, our father, it was formed a covenant. The Abishta made a covenant with him. He told him about the 10 lands in the Pasuk. It counts also the Keni, Knizi, V'kadmozi, in addition to the other 7 lands. The other lands, the 7. We also have the Keni, Knizi, V'kadmozi. The Abishta made a covenant with Avram. So at that point, we should add the Triora Miklots in those area in which will be added to Eretz Yisrael, the Kenik and Kadmon. Is Yedua in them the Shaila? So the question here is a known question. So was vet men davon noch meisiv sein la'asid lo v'noch orei miklot? Why would they need to add additional in the future to come additional cities of refuge? L'chayda, it would seem well doch damut nit sein kein Retzchem. They're not going to be there any murderers. I feel by the Ummah even the nations of the world, there's going to be no murderers. The Navi zogt. The Navi says, "La yiso goy el goy chereb," that there will be no sword carried from one nation against the other nation. So there will not even be, by the goyim's sword, there will be no murder at that time. So of course we're not going to have any murder by the Yidden. Why do we need Arei Miklat? Well, you might say, well, there's no intentional murder, but people could still kill by accident. And the other miklots are mainly for somebody who kills accidentally. Mainly because even one who kills purposely, to begin with, he can go to the other miklot until we find out whether it's purposely or not. But what is the main purpose is for accidentally. So maybe you will argue that by accident there will be a remikla, but the Rebbe says it can't be accidents. There won't be accidents at that time because in order to kill somebody by accident, the person getting killed needs to get killed, and the reason he gets killed is because he killed someone, as we will bring in a minute. So it's not shaykh for anybody to get killed by accident, and it's not even shaykh for anybody to kill by accident, because even killing by accident means that you have some sort of a connection already to the killing. You need an atonement. But if there is no ra, there's not going to be even accidental killing. Why do we need the Orei Miklot? Let's look aside. Even though the cities of refuge are mainly when somebody kills somebody accidentally, is the aber, but the Rebbe says, but it's not possible even to have killing somebody accidentally. The whole existence of killing somebody accidentally does not apply, cannot happen in the future to come. And both, both, there could be nobody getting killed and there could be nobody killing. It doesn't apply, loss of love. As the Rebbe explained, getting killed means that you killed somebody else. That's why you got killed. And since it is not applied to kill somebody, how could you get killed? And also, the killer, also, in order to kill, even accidentally, you need to have some connection to it. And if there's no ra, you're not going to kill even accidentally. The Rebbe explains. Dos gufa, the fact itself, was a mensch werd geharget, that somebody gets killed. So that in itself is a bavais. That is evidence, as in kum tachiv misa, that he is owed, that he owes, that he is liable for death. You don't just die. If somebody kills you by accident, that means that you needed to die by accident. So why does the person taka die? So as we learn in the Gemara, that the case is that you actually killed somebody intentionally and there was nobody to see this, so you're going to get killed by the person who's going to kill you accidentally. But that means that you killed somebody intentionally. That's why you get killed. So the fact that somebody is getting killed means that he deserves the Misa. And he deserves it because the death, because he killed someone. But the Gemara is doctor from Pasuk, as the Gemara says on the verse. V'asher lo yitzodo v'olikim in liyodei. Torah is talking about somebody who did not lie and trap. He wasn't intending to kill somebody. V'olikim in liyodei. Hashem made it happen to his hand. Hashem made it, caused it, circumvented that he should kill the person. Says the Gemara, what is the situation? What are we talking about? Talking about two people who killed someone. One killed accidentally, and one killed intentionally. And there is no witnesses. So the murderer, intentional murderer, is not going to get punished by Beis Din. Nobody saw. And the accidental murderer is not going to go to exile because nobody saw him killing somebody accidentally. So what does the Eibishter do? The Eibishter circumvents in the liyodi. The Eibishter makes it happen anyways. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mazminon lepundek echad. God bakes them both to come to the same inn. Echad zeh shehorag b'mezid. Whether the one that killed intentionally, Yoshev tachas hasulam, he's sitting underneath the ladder. V'zeh shehorag b'shegeg, and the one that kills accidentally, Yored b'sulam, he's descending on the ladder. V'neifel alav, but accidentally he falls on it, v'hergeg, and he kills him. So it turns out that the one who killed intentionally gets killed. Zeh shehorag b'mezid, the one who killed intentionally gets killed. V'zeh shehorag b'shegeg, Goyle will get into exile. Means Hashem will circumvent it, that the person who killed intentionally will get his death penalty through the other guy falling accidentally. So that means when somebody falls accidentally on you, you deserve the death penalty. But the only reason you deserve the death penalty is because you killed somebody. But if it's not applicable at the time when there's no murderers, so why would he be killed? So there would be no shegig either. And since in the future to come, there's going to be no circumstance from somebody killing intentionally, so therefore automatically there won't be so there will be nobody liable of death. So who's going to be killing him accidentally? He's only killing him accidentally one who is liable of death. So there could be nobody being killed for accidental killing, because in order for him to kill somebody accidentally, the other guy needs to be deserving of the death penalty because he killed somebody intentionally, but that's not applicable over there. So how is it going to be? So that's from the perspective of the one getting killed. Nobody's going to deserve death penalty. But also, there's not going to be anybody even killing accidentally, because killing accidentally also means that you have some sort of connection to evil. That's why you need an atonement. The same thing is from the perspective from the one who is killing the person accidentally, because it is known. As das Oversein of ein Avere Beshegig, that if one violates a sin accidentally, it's not, how does one just make a mistake, kill somebody by accident, to do any other Avere by mistake? It comes because you have some sort of a connection to what you've done, to the Aveda. Me'ein al kol panim. That should be similar. V'li'il by v'likim en eliyodei. Just like we said before, that why did you kill somebody? Hashem puts it to your hand that you end up killing somebody accidentally is because you killed somebody accidentally, meaning that you had some connection. To the Merash Ba'achet, you have some connection to the bad which is in the sin was the far. All the accidents still need atonement. This battle während der rein Welt. So there could be no accidental killing because since in the future to come there will be totally negated. There won't exist any evil in the world. But there was also not going to be any room of Subagain and Aveda to violate even a sin accidentally. So basically, the Rebbe is saying, why do we need Ore Miklat? And even accidents is not possible. In order to kill somebody accidentally, the person getting killed needed to be deserving the death penalty because he killed somebody, and that's not applicable. And also from the perspective of the person, the killer accidentally means still you have a connection. It's going to be Nora. How are you going to kill? In Ois base, the Rebbe brings down from the Minchas Chinuch, you make the Torah, make the Gzeres HaKosov, it's not going to be used. You don't need the Ore Miklot. It's just the Torah says makes the cities of refuge, and there's not going to be any killers. It doesn't mean that there's going to be killers. It just means, or accidental killers. It doesn't mean the Torah just makes the Gzeres HaKosov do it. But the Rebbe argues that in the Pasuk it says very clearly so that there should be no blood. The Torah doesn't just say it, make these three cities. It seems clearly that they're going to be used as a city of refuge to protect the accidental killer base. There are commentators who learn as those was mevet love mafrish sein noch 3 ore miklot is the fact that in the future to come we're going to separate additional 3 cities of refuge is la mitzvah, is just for the mitzvah. Or to use the language Minchas Chinuch, it's a decree of the verse. Just do it and without rational, because we're not going to need it. As the writes over there, because logically there will be no need for cities of refuge in the future to come. Because there will be only peace, truth, and good. Hamekuva will be in the days of the hope, the king that we are hoping for, Melech HaMashiach. Quickly nowadays. So why do we make the cities of refuge? The Torah decreed, last is a mitzvah is to do this mitzvah. The decree of the verse decreed, there should be a total of 9, 3 in the mainland, 3 in the Ever Yardin, and 3 in the place of Keni Knizi V'Kadmeni, the Eibishter will add. That's the svor of the Minchas Chinuch. But the Rebbe says, but this is difficult to say as such. But in their Parsha Gufa, because in this Parsha itself, after, in continuation to the command, that when Hashem widens your territory, so you should add these additional 3 cities of refuge. The Pasuk concludes and gives the reason. So that innocent blood shall not be poured out in your land that God gives you as inheritance. Because it will turn out that the redeemer of the blood will kill, and the person doesn't deserve death because he killed accidentally. So, as euch demot werden die Ore Miklot sein verbunden mit der Heiligen Nefesh. So, you see the passage that they are associated, the Ore Miklot, with killing somebody. So, why are we saying the Ore Minchas Chinuch says It's just a Gzeres HaKosa, but in the pasuk itself, it seems clearly that it's associated with death with somebody who's killing. Um, but the Rebbe in Ais Gimel is brings down another interpretation that in the times of Mashiach, there's going to be two periods. There's going to be one period where the world is going to conduct themselves the way it's conduct themselves now, and there will be murderers. Although we say that eventually, but that's the second period. So when the pasuk is talking about Keni Kinini V'Katmoini, there will be a period of time in which there will be murderers, and it will not reach yet that level that we say La Yisa Goyel Goy Cherev. There won't be no fights, no wars. That's going to be a second period, but this is the first period. And the Rebbe says, and perhaps this is also the pshat in the Rambam, and the Rambam separates this in a separate halacha to tell you that the fact that we have the Ori Miklot, the additional three Ori Miklots, which the Rambam proves the point of the Rambam, that there will be two periods, because the first period, which there will be no change, and that's why the pasuk says Ori Miklot, and then there will be a second period. Let's look inside. Gimel. Zainen Faran Meforshim, there are commentators that say, as the Tzoyrech von Ori Miklat Laosid Lovei, that the need for the cities of refuge in the future to come, wird sein nor in dem Zman von Tchilas Yemeis HaMashiach. That will be in the time, in the beginning of the days of Mashiach. Was damot at that point is ein bein ha'olam hazel Yemeis HaMashiach, elo shibud malchus b'vad. The only difference between the way the world is now and the days of Mashiach, the only will be that we won't be enslaved under the nations. Mashenkein in der später dike Tkufa when Yehesa Mashiach, as opposed to the later period of Yehesa Mashiach. After the beginning, there will first be a time when everything will be normally. At that point, we'll need cities of refuge. But later on, in the second period of Yehesa Mashiach, Behemshech Zman shetisrabe Haideya b'Yisrael, as time passes on, and there's going to be an increase in knowledge by the Yidden, then they won't need the Ore Miklot at that point. The Shalom explains that. So based on this, it turns out, as for them, so it turns out now, since we're saying that the only time that we would need the three Ore Miklot extras is during the period in the beginning, that means evidence that there is a time, which is a machlokes in the Gemara, that there is a time when the world will still be in the normal way it's now, even after Mashiach comes. And the evidence is the fact that we're making Ore Miklot means that we have killers, and the world is going to run the same way it does till then. So it turns out, as from them tzivuvim yarchev avay lekechas gvulcha, when the pasuk says God will widen your territory, so that we'll have to add three cities of refuge in the future to come. Is a raya to the deya hanal, that is evidence to the above opinion brought down on Shitas Rambam and the Rambam's view as ein ben ha'olam hazel li'meis HaMashiach elashibut malchus bilvad, that there is really no difference, at least in the beginning of the period of Mashiach, that only the enslavement, we're not going to be under the dominance, under the government of the Goyim, will be in charge of our own in Eretz Yisrael under Melech HaMashiach. But at least in the beginning of the time of Mashiach will be, naturally, things will continue. But the Rambam is Ma'arich b'Sifrei. The Rambam is actually extensively in his Sefer Hayad in the book, in the Rambam, Mishnah Torah says that things will be pretty much the same. Al yale al halev, don't enter your heart. Should be Moisam Mashiach yibotel davar miminhag shalolim. That during the days of Mashiach, any item will be negated from the regular conduct of the world. Things will stop being the way they were before. Or there's going to be some novelty. B'maisa Bereshis, in the creation that was created in the beginning, something new is going to be created. The Rambam says the world will continuously conduct itself as it was till then. And that's why that and that's why there will also be the case of somebody killing a soul, at least accidentally, because things will still be continuing in the normal way. And the Rebbe says, and if we take this idea, we'll understand another point, a specific way, the way the Rambam writes in this halachas. The mitvot ben euch gekent masbe sein adiyuk Rambam can also explain a question that we might have in the Rambam. Nochdem with the Rambam red wegen der Amunah bebias HaMashiach. After the Rambam talks about the belief in the coming of Mashiach, so the Rambam says it's full in the Divrei Nevi'im about Mashiach, but the Rambam says also in the Torah it's clear about Mashiach. As kol misheine ma'amin boy, anybody who doesn't believe in Mashiach coming, chulu, loy bishar hanevim bilvadu koifer, he is not just denying the rest of the prophets, I mean, besides Moshe Rabbeinu, the prophet, but he's not just denying the other prophets, but you're rather denying the Torah, the clear in the Torah, and the Moshe Rabbeinu. Shara Torah hi'ida olav. The Torah testifies about Mashiach. Shenemar, and he brings proof. Abbe Parshas Bilam Nemar, he brings proof from the portion of Bilam, the various interpretation that it goes on the Melech HaMashiach as well. And then the Rambam brings a Mamshich and brings noch haraya. He continues and brings another proof. In Abazundar Halacha, he said brings a separate halacha. He says, Ab be'ore miklot hu'omer, even when it talks about the deals of Orim Miklot, says the Rambam, the Pasuk says, when Hashem widens your territory, you should add another 3 cities of year of refuge. He says, it never happened such a thing where there was an addition. Hashem would not tell you in vain that he will widen your territory, give you more. So we have to say that this is when Mashiach comes. So there's evidence clearly in the Torah, in Moshe Rabbeinu, that there is, Mashiach is coming, and that's when the widening is going to take place. So what's the question? Why did the Rambam write this in a separate halacha? The L'cheira is not move on, L'cheira is not understood. Why is this proof brought down in a separate halacha? And the Rebbe says that the Rambam is intending here not just as a proof to what he said before, but also as a prelude before he's going to explain the periods in the time of Mashiach that Ein Ben Olam Hazeh, which part of it is from the Orim Miklot, as we're saying now. Why would you need Orim Miklot then? Because Ein Ben Yemesa Mashiach Lo'olam Haba. Anal Yesh Leimar, based on the above, that we're saying that it's only because there's no change. That's why we need Orim Miklot. So the mitvil that the Rambam is intending to hint by putting it in its own halacha as the raya from Orim Miklot, the evidence of Orim Miklot, but sitzich nit nor to them, not just to that, was sagt in der Halacha shelifnei zeh, which he says in the law beforehand, wegen bis Mashiach bechlal, about Mashiach, that we have to believe in Mashiach, because we see that the Eibishter told us about the Orei Miklot, which never happened and must be when Mashiach comes. That euch zum Teuchen hameduber in der Halacha shel acher zeh. But this evidence is also to the idea, the content that he is talking in the law that follows. V'al yale al daitcha. He says the door shouldn't enter your mind. Shamelech HaMashiach tzorich lasis eisis u'mevsim, that the King Mashiach needs to do signs and wonders, proofs, mechadish dvarim ba'olam, and to come up with new things in the world. Oy mechayim mesim, has to resurrect the dead, kuyotze v'dvarim elu, or similar to that. The Rambam continues, says, no, doesn't have to happen. Ein adavar kach. That's not true. It's not so. And the Rambam brings the proof. Shari Rabbi Akiva, Chulu, and Rabbi Akiva, followed Ben Kuziva, Bar Kochva, and he said that he was Mashiach, and he didn't do any of these wonders and Mechadish. So it seems that you can be Melech HaMashiach without any doing any fascinating or outstanding, miraculous things. No, it doesn't have to happen. So that's what the Rambam is trying to say, that there is, in the following halacha, there's not going to be any changes really in the nature of things. And on this, as is that then there will be no novelty, no thing new in the world. We have proof from the command to add the cities of refuge in the future. That teaches us that also in the days of Mashiach, the world will continue to go as it is. Is move on, and therefore it's understood as Nisdos is in Yonah for Mashiach. And so we see that's not what Mashiach has to do. Because here you see that there's already Miklat Losid Love, there'll be killers over there. So it means, so that's not what Mashiach is. Unidos is the Bechina, as that is Mashiach, and that's not the test whether he's Mashiach. And that's why Rabbi Akiva said Ben Kuziva could be Mashiach. And that's why the Rambam writes it in his own halacha. So that would fit very well. And therefore, the reason why we need Orei Miklot is in the beginning, in the first period. The Rebbe doesn't really say that this is really what the Rambam is trying to say, that there is no change because of Orei Miklot. Dalet. This is over schwer azoy to learn in the Rambam. It's difficult to learn this in the Rambam. If the Rambam means to sagen, if the Rambam means to say, as from the Reisofes Orei Miklot, that what he adds about that the Pasuk says to add additional cities of refuge is a raya muchachas, that is a proof, a certain proof. It's a proof, a verifiable proof. As Melech HaMashiach darf nicht machen kein Eisus und Meifs bechadish dvorim b'olam. That means that he doesn't have to do any wonders and sign bechadish dvorim b'olam, because the Pasuk said you need Orei Miklot. What does gesagt beferish? She would have said this explicitly. He wouldn't just rely by bringing this as a proof to believing in Mashiach. This is evidence from a verse and a Torah command. Und die Reihe, was bringt von Ben Kuziva, is from Divrei V'drashos Razal. The evidence that he brings is from Ben Kuziva, is from the words and the expounding of the Chazal. He would have a much stronger words of the Torah that prove that there will be no change. Nochmer, furthermore, from the Signon HaLoshen, the style, the language, the Rambam says, mit welchem the Rambam hebt on the halacha, Gimel shel Achrizah, the way the Rambam starts, the halacha Gimel, after finishing about the Orei Miklot, which is halacha base, So he starts off the Halacha Gimel that we were discussing. Al Yala al Dait Chosha Melech. He starts, don't think the Melech HaMashiach that he needs to bring signs and proof to do things in the world. This is something new that he's coming to say. Unit ve'ein hamelech hamashiach tzarich lasis, that he doesn't have to do just a fact, but it's like something new. Is mashma as euch noch der halacha beis, even after the halacha beis wegen orem mischalot losid lovei. When we discussed about the orem mischalot lovei, ken zayin hakosal kadaitach, we still can think, even though the pasuk says we need orem miklot, and we still can think that maybe there will be miracles when Mashiach comes and things will change. And still we need the orem miklot. Yalal daitcho. You could still enter your mind as Mashiach, that he needs to make wonders. But we're negating this because we see Rabbi Akiva believed Ben Kuziva could be Mashiach. Das heißt, that means like this. As from the Tzivu lahoisiv or miklat laosid lovei, that the fact that there is a command to add cities of refuge in the future is kirayani. That's not a proof yet. As Mashiach that Mashiach will not need to show. The fact that we do Orei Miklot does not negate the idea. That idea we could still have. Only because of Ben Kuziva and Rabbi Akiva, we have that proof. Move on as from them. So therefore, it's understood that it's no evidence of the fact there could still be, we don't have a proof that it's not going to be changing the world. Somehow, we'll have to explain why would there be a need for Arei Miklot if there could be a change. So in other words, we are saying there might be a change and things will be, it's not, the Rambam proves it from Rabbi Akiva with Ben Kuziba, but just because we need Arei Miklot could be other reasons. So what's the reason? That's what the Rebbe is going to explain now, that there's a possibility that we need the Orei Miklot. Even if Mashiach will make a change, we'll still need Orei Miklot. The Orei Miklot will be used, and the Rebbe will explain now, for somebody who killed previously, not during the time of Mashiach's coming. And therefore, there's no evidence from the fact that you need Orei Miklot. Yeah, of course, it could be also, according to the Rambam, that the world of Kivan Hogenoyeg, even after Mashiach comes, at least in the first period. But it's not evident from the fact that you need Orei Miklot in the future when Mashiach comes, when there's Keni, Keniz, and Kadmoni, because we can explain it that it's going to be used for killers who are there from the time of before Mashiach. Hey, the Shleimer Debir, and then we can say the explanation of this. From the Sofes on the Miklat Laosid Lobe, from the fact that we're adding cities of refuge in the future to come, is Kenarayanit, that's not evident, as Demul Vedzain Olam Kimin Hogi Noyak, that then the world will conduct itself in its normal way. Bal the Orem Miklot Veln Zain, because the reason they will be there, so the Bahirik Nefesh Bishgogo, Lifnes, that there will be somebody killed a soul accidentally beforehand. Bisman Hazeh, nowadays, before Mashiach comes. In the arches Kenik Nizuk Kadmoni. Since then, we will be in the cities of Kenik Nizuk Kadmoni. Better that from Goyla Zain in Air Miklot, he'll need to exile to a city of refuge. We find this by the obligation. Somebody's obligated a chatos, and there's no Beis Hamikdash, he can't bring the korban chatos. He'll bring the chatos when the Beis Hamikdash is built. As Rabbi Shmuel, Kosev Alpin Kosev, Rabbi Shmuel would write down on his notebook, as Kshibon Beis Hamikdash, when the Beis Hamikdash will be built, Ovi chatos Shemena, I'll be bring a fat chatos, which means that the obligation started from before, and while there was no Beis Hamikdash, but when there will be a Beis Hamikdash, he said that he will bring the chatos Shemena. So the Orei Miklot will be used for the person who killed beforehand, and he is in the cities of Kenik Nizuk Hadmon. On Afalpi, so the Rebbe says, we still need to understand it seems like as der Tam von Havdolos Ore Miklot, what is the reason the Pasuk says that we need to separate these cities of refuge? Lahochin l'cha haderech v'orei miklot rabim, to make it accessible, the road accessible, and to prepare many cities of refuge. Why do we need it? Is pen yirdev goyel hadom acharei haritzeach, because the redeemer of blood will chase after the murderer to kill the one who killed accidentally, because his heart will be heated up, and then he will be able to reach him because he couldn't make it in time to the Are Miklat. Because the road will take long, it'll be too far away, and then he'll kill him. So the reason why we need this Are Miklat is Kidei Kenen Antleifun und dem Goyel Hadam, in order to be able to run away from the Redeemer of the blood. And therefore we're saying, Im Yarchiv Havaye Lekecha es Gevulcha Goymer, B'Yasafta Lecha Oid Shalosh Orim. When Hashem, your God, widens your territory, you should add additional 3 cities. As Oich Demult Zayin de Ore Miklot, Amokem Atzola for Goyel Hadoms. That means that even then, what do those cities provide? A refuge that the Redeemer of the blood is chasing and might want to kill him. Who would want to kill after Mashiach comes? Who would want to redeem the blood? Is Yechem Levov and Nitzayich La'asid Love in the future to come? There is not going to be such a thing that his blood is going to boil up to want to kill. But the Rebbe said that's not true because it's actually a mitzvah. We say that in the Sifri, in our Parsha, it says mitzvah b'yad goyel hadam lirdef. It's actually a mitzvah in the Redeemer of the blood to chase the accidental murderer who killed his relative. About says a mitzvah, and since it's a mitzvah, is move on. So understood that that this also can apply in the future to come. Therefore, we need the cities of refuge, in order to run away from the Redeemer of the blood. The Rebbe says that this itself, whether it's really a mitzvah, as we learn in the Sifri, or not, so the Rebbe has a whole piece now, a whole bracket, that this really depends, and the Rebbe is going to say that according to everybody, it's a mitzvah. Because in the Mishnah, the Rebbe brings down Isa as mitzvah b'yad goyel adam tzahargen and dem ritzeach. When is there a mitzvah on the Redeemer of the blood to kill the murderer? Nor in a fall from the ritzeach sheyotzo chutz litchum, only in the case that he went outside of the territory of the Ore Miklot. He's supposed to be there. So there's a mitzvah if he leaves there, umetzoy goyel hadam, and the Redeemer of the blood finds him. So then it's a mitzvah to kill him. But before he ever made it into the city of refuge, but not, there's no mitzvah when he is first running to the Ore Miklot. So but here it's mashma that we're making the Are Miklot because he might chase him, but in that case, that's not a mitzvah. But the Rebbe, but in the Sifri, it says that it's always a mitzvah. So as order not to increase, make a difference opinion of the Sifri and the Mishnah, yesh loimer, we can say as oich loiter deya, that even according to the opinion in the Mishnah that the Rebbe brings down, meintes nit as dafke demult, that it is then after he went into the city of refuge, and then he went outside to the boundaries of the Miklat. Verdan is chadish the mitzvah from Goyel Adom. Then there's a new mitzvah of Goyel Adom. But before the murderer comes to the city of refuge, is an isur of goyel hadam tzaharginen. It will be a prohibition on the redeemer of the blood to kill him. He has no right to kill him. That only give them Reitzeyach, the one who killed Punkt wie an other mentioned, just like another person, there will be a prohibition. He doesn't have a right to kill him, the goyel hadam, if he never made it yet into the. So no. But the Rebbe says no. We'd rather say that also according to this opinion of the Mishnah is mitchatchila noch farde nisa laore miklot. Even before running away to the cities of refuge, ishenda mitzvah. There is a mitzvah similar to the view of the Sifri that there's a mitzvah to kill him even before he got there. On the redeemer of the blood to avenge the blood of his relative. But since the Torah provides for the one who killed accidentally a protection from going to the city of refuge, so that way it gets taken care of. As Kolzman der Ritzeach is noch nicht angekommen le'ir meklote. When he didn't get there yet, is Aryehu Drevi Alei. So there is sort of use the language of the Gemara, the line is laying on it. In other words, you can't kill him because the Torah says no, he should be able to run away. But the mitzvah is still there. He can't fulfill the mitzvah, practically speaking, because the Torah wants him to be allowed to get there. But the mitzvah is on him already. There is a mitzvah. It's nothing bad. Running after is not bad because that's a mitzvah. Is goyel adam when I cannot mekayim the mitzvah, he's not able to mekayim the mitzvah. But we can still say that that would be actually a mitzvah for the goyel hadam. So therefore, this is all possible even in the time of Mashiach for somebody who killed beforehand to be Yechem Lavavai, to do the mitzvah, to do this is all applicable over there. And that's why we would have a additional Ore Miklat. But the Rebbe says, this is talking about when there's a mitzvah. The Rambam doesn't rule that it's a mitzvah for the relative to kill. The Rambam learns that he has a right to kill. So we still need to understand in the time of Mashiach, why would there be Yechem Levavoi to want to kill even? That seems to be a negative. Not like the Sifri that it's a mitzvah or the mitzvah or the Mishnah that there is a mitzvah. But we have to understand in the view of the Rambam. The Rambam paskendoch, the Rambam rules, as is nor arishus biad goyel hadam lahorge. Has a right. The Redeemer has a right to kill. When yotzu chutz l'tchuma bezoden, when he went outside of the territory of the Ore Miklat intentionally. But l'chayre afil l'daita. Even according to the opinion of the Rambam, as laws in love is oilum kimin hogenoy, that it is conducted like the normal. So maybe there will be negativity. Is einoch inami as ken zaina hirig nefesh bishgoga. So let it be that there can be somebody killing accidentally. So according to the Rambam, we can say we need Ore Miklot, not even from before, but according to the Rambam, oilum kimin hogenoy. So there can be a hirig nefesh bishgoga. Wie kommt aber, he doesn't have a proof from that pasuk, but it's still the Rambam has a proof from Rakiva. So we know that there could be so there could be a killer then. So let there be as es ken sein wie kommt aber demol yecham levove. How does it come then that the heart should be heated up and therefore a metzias from goyel hadam to be something wanting to redeem the blood? About the Rambam Alein Paskin, even though the Rambam Paskins, Rambam himself rules. Even in that first period when there's no change, As be'ez azman lo yeh v'le milchama. There will be no hunger, no war, v'lo kina v'tachrus, no jealousy, no competition, hulu. V'lo yeh kol ha'olam, the whole occupation of the world, ela ladas Hashem b'levad, will just be to know Hashem alone. In a matzah from lo kina v'tachrus, when there is no, when we're in a condition, when people aren't jealous and not competing, and we're all also ladas avayim b'levad, and we're occupied knowing Hashem, is we can sein as einer soll hargen als zweiten. How could it be that somebody should kill somebody? Was loy ein mishpat moves. He doesn't really deserve death because he killed somebody accidentally, and you're killing him nor mitzatem was yecham levove because his heart heats up. That's why he acts out of impulse because of. But the world will be in a different state at that time, according to the Rambam. So how would he be in such a condition? Um, Man kann nicht antworten. So the Rebbe says, well, maybe you're going to answer, Take, the reason we need the Ori Miklot is just to atone for the Heirik Mishgoga. He has to live there. But the Pasuk says that it has to do with the blood. We can't answer. We can't answer. Ados was men vet laosid love davon haben Ori Miklot. The reason why in the future you'll need the cities of refuge wird sein. Nicht euch zum Atzel sein dem Heilig Nefesh Bishgog of dem Goyel Adam. Not in order to save the one who killed accidentally from the Redeemer of the blood, not al sakapora for them head, but just for an atonement for the sin of killing somebody accidentally. Balinyone for Ore Miklot, because the truth is, what Ore Miklot is nit belois Hagonavat Sol. It's not just protection and saving, Narech Kapara Lachet, it's also an atonement for the sin. Orum the Posik Zok Beferish V'lo Yishofich Dam Noki, Goimer. As they will sein, the Posik is not to pour the blood, that they'll also be in the future to the Hagonavat Sol, to protecting and saving. Who's going to want to kill them? So while we answered how there can be somebody killing, needing the Ore Miklot, but how are you going to have somebody wanting to kill the one who killed accidentally? In addition, we have a question. If the Ore Miklot la'osit lovei, if the city of refuge in the future to come will sein nor to leave them, they'll only be there for the purpose as a hedik nefesh b'shgogas olav makapore, so that the one that kills accidentally should have an atonement. Is doch nicht der Chash as kir baderech v'ko nefesh, so we don't have to worry. Oh, it's going to be a long way. You can kill him in the meantime. So therefore, why do we need to have extra cities in Keni Kniz v'Kadmoidis? In Token Hechrich, if Ore Miklot neres Keni Kniz v'Kadmoidis Tafke. Why do we need it to have cities over there? The only reason we need it is to make it close. So if you find yourself in those cities, you have a place to run away. As einer doch schon da Ore Miklot neres Yisrael v'Evra Yarden. We already have cities of refuge in Eretz Yisrael on the other side of Jordan. Masha'en came, but if the reason is to save, we need to make it quickly. So you have to need a place. When the time is when the reason is also and mainly in order to protect the one who killed accidentally from the Redeemer of the blood. Is move on farvos medar formen de sofes haorim. That's what we know why we need the cities there. It's Keni Keniz v'Kadmoni, the land of Keni Keniz v'Kadmoni, so that there should be access, easy access to the new places to protect them. Hayosim alonus shomo, since to run away there is nagezel nitzayin, yirbaderech shouldn't be a long way. So the question really is, since we're living in the time of Mashiach and there's going to be no competition, why would there be somebody wanting to kill at that point the Goyel Hadam? According to the Rambam, it's not a mitzvah. According to the Rambam, Yechem Levavoi, Beloy Mishpat Mo, you're not allowed to kill. It's only the Torah gives him an allowance because Yechem Levavoi, because as a relative. But in that state, if it's the Moshe Mashiach, why would one of them run? And the Rebbe explained that it can't be just for the atonement of the one who killed accidentally, because the Pasuk says this to run away there, and we wouldn't need for an atonement. You have enough cities. Zayin, the Shleimer Abir was that. So the Rebbe says the explanation, the halacha from Goyel Adom, with alle protim, the law of Goyel Adom with all the details, is not an inyan from Divra Torah keneged Yetzer Hara. This is not that the Torah is just talking because the Yetzer Hara will push you to want to kill. Which will persuade you and heat you up and get you excited and trying to, and their father Torah bless Bereri gave me the shoes. That's why the Torah, having no choice, gave permission, or that Tzivui, according to the other opinions, Sifri the Mishnah, Rambam says it's allowed to hargen them to kill the Ritzeach. If the person who killed somebody accidentally is not guilty of being put to death, is wie shaykh zu sagen. So how could you even say as the goyel adam hat reshusim zu hargenen that he has even the right to kill him? The koshkein, and for sure, as this is a mitzvah for goyel adam, that it's a mitzvah to kill him. How could you say that if he doesn't deserve it? So it's not just something that impulsively the Torah knows that because you're going to want to kill him, this is what the Torah allows you. No, this is anoga mikora apitoiro mitzvah. A mitzvah. This is to begin with a conduct which goes according to Torah and the mitzvah. As and doi fanim, there are situations when the Torah haste bezdins loisfirin the mechiv misam. Certain cases, the Torah instructs bezdin that they should be the ones to carry out the death penalty. Then the obligation, the person is guilty for death. Then as and doi edim vasra, when you have witnesses and there's warning them. There's other cases where it comes from the heavenly court gives misa. If you kill somebody accidentally, since through him a Jewish soul was killed, Torah transferred this, gave this over to them. The Goyel Adam is the one who is fit to inherit him, which has a shaykhis to him, he has a connection to him. So according to the Torah, his heart needs to be heated up. To kill the Ritzech. That's the penalty. That's what Hashem wants. If I nemen them v'rotzach, goyel as adom, esaritzeach, that the goyel adam will kill the murderer, and don't take payment to let a person run to the Ori Miklot. You should make the land the land will not be forgiven. You have to kill the person. And in our parsas, you'll be blood on your hand. The Maisachet. We wanted to remove the act of the sin. The sin was that he kills him. He kills the Ritzech. You can't let the Ritzech run away to city of refuge. You're going to corrupt the land. You have to kill him accidentally. Also, that's the way it's done. Bezdin doesn't kill him. The Goyel Adam kills him. The Riber is das Rambam was paskat. Even according to the Rambam, the rules. As the Rishus LeGoyel Adam LaHorgai, he has a right to kill him. It's not a mitzvah. Darfman Hoben LaHori Miklot LaOsid Lovoi. You need the Ori Miklos to the future to come. If I'm from them Goyel Hadam to run away from the Redeemer of the blood. The Baldas the Goyel Adam is an Inyan al Torah, since it is a Torah matter that there's to avenge the blood. It's not just a feeling of revenge, but the Torah wants it to be done. Yecham levove. Even in the time of the future, when it says like there's no jealousy, there's no competition. You only know Hashem, because this is part of Das Hashem. If in the first period, according to the Rambam, in which is Elohim and Hagin Noyeg, And even though we're learning Torah and everything else, Yechem Levavi is part of the mitzvahs of the Eibishter. It's a Torah command. Torah doesn't obligate you, but there's still that conceptually. Ches v'yirotzen, as durch the avodah von Orei Mikvah bizman hazeh beruchnis. Through the service of the cities of refuge nowadays, the spiritual level. Where is refuge in spiritual level? Limud Torah. Study of Torah is like cities of refuge. It's divrei Torah kultim. Words of Torah they absorb, they take you in. Befrat in dem Zman was is gegeben geworden als a Miklot, especially during the period of the month of Elul, which was given as a refuge. The Chodesh Elul, was the abbreviation is In Eliyodi v'samti loch. It happens to your hand, and I will give you a place to run away. Lirmes to Hintka Kodesh Baruch Hu b'chazdei, that Hashem in His kindness ino, He made this happen. V'zimen, He prepared a Chodesh Elul, the month of Elul. Chol mishachota b'toich hashana. Anybody who sinned throughout the year, sheyosuvot v'tshuva v'yikablu, should return with tshuva, and Hashem will accept him. So man zeichazam b'korev. So we should very soon merit, so der Yarchiv Avayas Gvulcha. Hashem should widen our territory, Kipshute. Es wird sein, der V'yasaftelcha et Sholosh Arim, to add additional 3 cities, the Isofes Gimel Orei Miklot, the adding the 3 cities of refuge. Unoich Beruchn is also spiritually the Galus, Teimetaiden, Taimei Torah, the revelation of the reasons of Torah, Losi Lovei, durch Mashiach Tzidkenu, through the righteous Mashiach, Meiri V'yameinu Mamish, speedily in our days. This is Mesichas Motzoi Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Bolok Pinchas in Tavshin Lamed Ches.